They can see us. We can see each other. That's all that matters, right?
Am I supposed to be able to see you?
All right. So you can't miss me, Andy. Really?
I do.
You want to do?
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Scrutiny with Cheri, Hardman, and Andy Vargo, where we talk about things that are going on in the world, whether it's in your life, in our lives, or the most fun on reality TV that Cheri watches and I don't, and she fills me in, and then we give it our own special brand of scrutiny. Did I do that right?
There we go. With a heavy emphasis on relationships.
Yes, definitely. A lot of relationship talk, which is great because we're all in relationships, whether it's with other people as an intimate relationship or just as friends, or that all too important relationship we have with ourselves. And I'm just full of words today. I need to just shut up.
You just like pulled that one right out of your hiney, didn't you? That's pretty good.
You know, if you want to be a paid professional speaker, you got to learn how to just talk a lot. That's
true. It was great seeing you last night.
I agree. That, and for people who didn't know, last night Cheri and I made it down to the Tacoma Comedy Club. She was down there the night before hosting the event for the New Talent Tuesday, and I was on stage last night for the open mic, and it just was so good to be in person with you, with some of our comedy friends and some of our comedy people who drive us crazy, and just getting back to life like normal.
I know, and this is part of what I wanted to talk about later, so I don't know, should we talk about it now? But I think we'll save that.
All right.
Because I wanted to talk about how COVID has changed many relationships. I want to discuss if you thought it's affected ours at all or any of our other relationships, but I kind of want to save that for like a little bit later.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I have a key thing I've been thinking about today, specific to change and a big piece that we usually miss that really changes how well we deal with it. So I'm glad to talk about that later.
Oh, good. But first I want to catch us up on a little bit of reality TV. I've been watching a little thing on Netflix called The Circle. Have you heard of The Circle?
Okay, so I saw this on my playlist and I was tempted to click on it because it had like a pretty good looking guy, you know, in the picture. And I was like, what is that show? But I actually, then I saw it was more of like, it looked like a reality show. And so I didn't get into it because that's your realm.
It's kind of a reality show, kind of a game show. The first season was super good. So then this is like the second season now. Now, here's the premise. They have these people in an apartment building. And outside there's a big circle where, and it just kind of shows where they all are. And they're each in their own little apartments. And they only can communicate through this specific computerized system that they have. Like they can't get on their phone and call home or Google stuff.
Okay.
They're just kind of stuck in there individually in each different apartment. They can't see each other.
So can they, okay, so they even see pictures of each other?
They see a picture, like you have like a profile that you make.
Okay.
But the kicker is that you can make the profile of somebody else if you want.
Oh, you could be catfishing if you want to.
Right. And so
it's kind of like they're communicating. Is it almost like communicating through like a social media type feeling?
Just like a messenger type thing.
Gotcha.
But you can do like group messages and then the system sends out alerts every now and then with challenges or whatever they want you to do.
Okay.
They're I think it's like 100,000 or 200,000 that they're competing for.
Oh wow!
So it's a big money prize, but it's kind of like about likability.
Okay.
So every week you rate people in order of how you like them, basically. But you know, after a while it gets strategic because you realize, well, this person's like the top of. If you're at the top of the list, then you get to decide who goes home
I see. Oh, it's kind of like the Survivor type idea where
And yeah,
you kind of have to sometimes, if someone's too good, you have to kind of vote them off because they could be competition later. So,
right, right.
uh, it's kind of
So
like,
it's, go
you know,
ahead.
I just have this interesting thought because how often do we do that in our own life where if people are too good, we kind of kick them out of our own circle because we don't like how that makes us feel because we compare so much, right? So how often do we shy away from people or take them out of our friends list or unfollow them just because, you know, they're, you know, I hear people say this, like, I'm just tired of seeing, you know, so and so, you know, remake an entire garden and then cook everything from scratch every Thursday, and who can realistically do that? It's like, okay, well, since you don't feel like you can keep up, you now take that person out of your space. But
Right, right. So there's some of that. Now last season I really felt like they were all really good people. Like
mhm.
I thought, well, this is unusual to watch a reality show where I think that they're all good quality, honest
Yeah,
people.
that's a good point because usually there's so much, yeah, backstabbing and
Right.
just, you know, at odds with where you just think, gosh, these people deserve each other. A lot of times on
Yeah.
reality TV.
And even though these people, there are catfishes in there, I don't really consider that. It's not, it's a game. They're
Part of the
playing a
show. Yeah,
game. Right.
right.
So
And you
this
know that
season,
going in.
yeah. So this season came out and I was super excited, but I don't find the people this season as likable.
Mm.
Now, as you go on, like you said, there's one really hot guy and he never wears a shirt. So that in itself, and there's also a picture of his naked butt. So just saying, you might want to watch that season, second season. But I'm already up. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I'm already up to all I have left to watch is the finale to see.
Oh, and it's like Netflix, so they put the whole season out at once, probably. Like it's just out
They did
there.
the last time, but this time they did only
Oh,
so
few.
many episodes at a
Okay,
time.
gotcha.
So it was like the first five, and then maybe the next five, and then now there's one left or something like that. So I
Okay.
wasn't feeling good last night, so I was up and I kind of finished watching what was left to watch.
Hmm.
But the thing that I was thinking about with this is because you do have people that are catfishing, and the audience is in on all that. Like we're in on that. It's not like anybody's tricking
Yeah,
us.
you know who the fakes are and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so Lance Bass was one of the people in the circle. Do you know who Lance Bass is?
No.
Oh my God, really?
Is that someone? The name sounds
Are you
familiar.
kidding? Oh my God. He
Does
was
he
for
own
and
the pro shops?
all right, this is where you need to gay it up. I'm sorry, but he was from one of those boy bands, In Sync, I'm pretty sure. He's
Okay.
like a famous gay icon,
Okay.
really.
Cool. Okay,
So,
Lance Bass. I'm gonna write that.
and he's kind of cute. So I'm surprised you don't know who he is.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
writing this down
he
so
writes
I can
that
Google
down.
it later. Lance Bass.
And so
Okay.
they're all like Lance Bass. I don't think Lance Bass is really well. It was actually his assistant posing as him, so she knew a lot about him.
Gotcha.
So that
Yeah.
was an interesting little twist. And then there was some there's some chick named Chloe that was on some other show called Too Hot to Handle, and she's supposed to be just adorable, and she irritates the crap
I
out
was
of me.
gonna say I can tell by the way you're saying she said post that you don't think so.
She's got she's like a British accent, and she is always wearing something where her vagina is clearly visible.
Okay.
And it's like she's a skinny little thing, but then she just has this bulbous vagina. Like, what do you got going on in there? Like, I don't really get it. Like, I don't know what's going on with that. The other thing, and I should see if I can Google this right now just to do a picture of it. But this one guy's bathroom is crazy. So I'm going to Google it really quick. Let's see. What's his name? Okay. Now I must be a weirdo because I tried to Google something about her vagina last night, and no, it's not going to show. There's not enough to Google about it. So
Hmm.
I was like, what's up with Chloe's vagina on the circle? There's nothing, so apparently I'm the only one that's noticed. So everybody go check it out. And like she wears tan pants all the time, like tan leggings. So she looks
Mhm.
basically naked anyway. I
Now,
don't
can
know.
I?
I'm not trying to vagina shame,
Right.
but
Okay. So can I share my screen and check something out here?
sure.
Okay. So, but I will need you to allow me to, I guess, because we didn't do that. But we haven't done that before. So where I've shared.
See
Okay.
if that
So
works.
that worked. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go LANCE. For the people who are not as in it as you. Oh, he's a good looking guy.
You're the
Lance
only one
Bass.
in the world that doesn't know who Lance Bass. My
Oh
husband
my
knows.
God, his birthday's coming up on May the 4th.
Oh well, we should sing him happy birthday or send him a
Happy
card.
birthday to you. If I thought that it would be any sort of a gift, I would do the striptease, but I don't want it to be a resulting birthday present. May the 4th from NSYNC.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Oh, there's Lance Bass, but he's not
Gotcha.
really on it. So he might be on the finale because she said she was going to introduce everyone to him. And I figure they'll probably throw him in there just as a celebrity. Okay, enough with the Lance Bass.
This is market research.
And
There's a fine line between market research.
he's got a really nice personality. So, he doesn't appear to be a jerk or anything.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, so this guy's bathroom, Courtney's bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I wish
Is
I
this
had
the shirtless guy?
no, this is a different guy.
Okay.
I just got to tell you about his bathroom because, like, you picture like when you go into a bathroom, you usually have the toilet and then the vanity that has the sink in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you go into his bathroom and then here's the sink with the vanity, and then in front of the vanity is the toilet. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, is that just like a fake bathroom prop or what?
I don't know, but sometimes depending on the type of apartment building, I mean, are these newer apartments or are they things that were retrofitted and they made weird spaces?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's probably just some kind of
Because
set.
my bathroom, like my knees practically hit the sink when I sit on the toilet because it's just like right on top of each other. There's a little pedestal sink, the toilet, little medicine cabinet above the sink, and then the bathtub. I mean,
But is your toilet off the wall?
It's attached to the wall.
Right. Well, his toilet is in front of the vanity.
Oh.
It's not attached to the wall. It's attached to the vanity where the sink is.
Oh, that is interesting.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. So it bothers me every time they show it. Like, I'm like, and I keep making Dave come, like, look at his bathroom. But like, apparently I'm the only one disturbed by that.
Okay.
So anyway, that has nothing to do with anything.
It is interesting though, when you watch a show, how the little details sometimes will bother certain people. Like it's distracting if it's not, because you do wonder, did they have to remodel something so they could get certain angles, or why would they even make something like that up?
Yeah, I don't know. But they have the apartments decorated very cute. They're fully decorated with different personalities of their own. And so it's visually very interesting to watch the show.
Yeah.
Like, it's just really kind of like sit around in your pajamas and eat and be lazy and enjoy this.
Okay.
I really like the show.
You said you didn't like the people as much on this season. What's going on there? Is it because of the toilet, or is there more? Is it deeper than that?
There's just a couple people that I think are just not as engaging, or a little like Chloe's irritating, and there's kind of a little bit more infighting or like cat fighting kind of stuff going. Like, I thought last season they were all just nice people.
Do you think that they purposely thought out more of that for drama, for ratings?
Possibly, yeah.
And I'm curious now, these aren't in any way about pursuing a relationship, are they? It's more like Survivor, where you vote everyone off the island, one winner.
But because of the nature of the show, you kind of form alliances with people, and then you form certain kinds of relationships with them.
Okay.
But then, they're watching kind of the anguish. Like, I don't know how long they really have these people in this place, but they talk about how they've been away from their family for a while.
Yeah, are they allowed? Did you say that they have no contact with the outside world?
No, there's like one time their family gets to call them or send them a video.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. So, but just to kind of watch, like I always wonder, like you're on a game. You ever see people on like game shows, not like Price is Right, but like a reality show competition.
Yeah, like a
People
Big
cry
Brother
about them
thing.
a lot. There's a lot of crying that goes on, and I'm like, why are you crying about a stupid show? But just kind of see the people kind of going through some anguish of having to vote somebody out that they felt they
They
had
actually
formed
care.
a bond with.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there's a couple things at play there, right? Like number one, your emotions are higher because you're in a stressful situation, whether you really acknowledge all of the stresses or not. But being isolated, being away from your family, being in a strange environment, and having to be placed in a new and into new arenas where you're also constantly on, you're constantly being watched. That's a lot of stress to a person. So that's going to make you cry quicker. And then your only connection is those people. So they become more important to you than if it was just a stranger. If you go for and I think this is why, like, when people go to a weekend retreat, that bond becomes really intense really quick because you have no contact with the outside world. Now when it's over and you're like, oh my gosh, I know we just met, but the relationship got so deep so quick. And I think that's one of the things that we forget, is that in that week or month or 6 months, however long they're there, those people are their everything because they don't have
Hmm.
other outlets.
That's true. I didn't really think of it that way, but that kind of ties in with something else I was thinking today. Today on Facebook, a comedian that I've met once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it was only once because there might have been a second time. Posted one of those like, tell me a memory about you and me, and
Oh
you know,
yeah.
kind of thing. And I said dirty underwear because the first time I met him, we were down in Portland and doing a comedy competition. And I pulled into a parking space, and then right above, you probably saw the picture, right above the parking space, there was just a pair of filthy, tidy whities that were no
Mm-hmm.
longer white hanging up there. And I stopped and got out and took a picture of it. And then some guy was walking up the sidewalk, and we exchanged conversation about these disgusting underwear. Well, it turned out he was one of the other comedians in the competition.
Yeah.
But so whenever I think about that memory, I think of him. And
Sure.
whenever I think of him, I think of dirty underwear. So, but it's kind of funny that although we don't really have any other relationship except to see each other's feeds, um, that I will always like that anchored like a memory between the two of us. And so
Yeah.
I'll always feel like that some little connection. Isn't that weird?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like, because you have that memory that is so unique and different, and yeah, because it's tied to that person, even though that's not somebody that you might think of on a daily basis or anything, but anytime the idea of this dirty underwear comes to mind.
Uh-huh.
And those things are interesting when people post those posts where it's share memory. And I, I feel like sometimes there's those friends where it's an instant thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the friends that we know the best, it's harder to even come up with some of those because you have so much going
Oh,
on.
many, or
Yeah.
yeah.
But then you have those people where you've had so few interactions that it's easy to go, well, I only know this and this about you, and you almost feel bad posting it, but it still means a thing to that person, and that may be that same connection they have with you, or sometimes those memories were a bigger event to you than it was to them. So it's kind of nice when people can hear that you made that impact in their life, or that you have that memory that's like, oh man, I forgot about that, but you're right, that was that time. How often do you hear that or have that happen in
Well, and
either?
you never know. Like if he and I ever became famous comedians doing a show together, we would have that dirty underwear from way back when. I don't know.
Right.
It's just interesting that that kind of came to my mind today. So anyway, The Circle, I recommend watching it. It's not gonna cure cancer, or it's not rocket science, but if you just want some entertainment, it's pretty entertaining, and like visually it's interesting, and
Yeah.
I'm really
Uh,
excited to find out who wins. So
well, and just for people who haven't picked up on it or didn't remember or didn't hear it before, I don't really watch any of these reality type shows. So Cheri's always feeding me the information, and we have some great conversations about it. But but like you watch, what are those shows you watch? You watch the Desperate Housewives of Beverly
The
Hills,
Real Housewives.
the Real Housewives of whatever city they're in that day.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like a road trip. And then I know we've talked about the 90 Day Fiance. We talked about the guy, the Ed.
Big Ed,
'Cause he's
yeah.
on
And I
the
got news about Big Ed,
okay,
but keep going.
because he's on an after version, right? Like the single life of that or something. And then Sister Wives we've talked about. And I think there was another one I was just thinking about that you have watched in the past. But like 90 Day Fiance or 90 Day Fiance, I know a little bit more about because we've talked about that. I really know nothing about the Housewives shows. So
Well, once that starts going, you're going to know all about it. We're kind of
right.
in between seasons right now. And by the way, I just want you to know that Mike Hansen says, "How does Andy not know all the gay celebs? WTF? Question mark."
Thank you, Mike. I don't know. I
It's
guess
your
I gotta.
responsibility as a gay man, apparently, to know
I
this
know.
kind of stuff.
Well, who was the guy that's named Andy that I hadn't heard about? And you're like, how do you not know this guy?
Andy Cohen.
Cohen. Yeah, he's gay too, right?
Do you know who he is?
Well, because you told me he's on like
Have you looked his
Lifetime
picture
or
up?
something.
Have you looked his picture up?
Yeah, I did when you told me about him.
Yeah, he's cute.
He's a cute guy, but he's a baby daddy now.
Yeah, so
I already raised my kids.
yeah, I know. If I was dating, I wouldn't want to date someone with little kids.
I mean, if I happen to meet somebody in the moment and we really hit it off and they happen to have kids, that's great. I love kids. However, I'm not looking to start over on raising kids when I just, my youngest is 18 and I have that family established. But also, it's really hard because so many celebrities are knocking on my door for relationships and attention. And it's just, I hate turning people down, but I have to be realistic about what I'm expecting out of my life. So sorry, Andy Cohen, and I'll do some research on the Brass Lance guy.
I think he's married.
Oh, okay.
I think he's got a hubby, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right, so let's see what else. Let's talk about Big Ed real quick.
Yes.
So Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance is now on 90 Day Fiance The Single Life because his
because it didn't work out.
It didn't work out. His 90 Day Fiance thing didn't work out. So now he's on
and I know you told me this before. Did it not work out before the marriage, or did it get to marriage and then divorce?
No, they didn't get to marriage. No. Okay. And so I feel like every time I need to share a picture of Big Ed, don't you?
And while you do that, I'm going to clarify. So The Single Life is a show. If I get it right, 90 Day Fiance usually is featuring one person per show, but Single Life is kind of mixing some of them in, or do they mix them all?
No, they mix them all in.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm going to share a picture of Big Ed because you really got to have the whole Big Ed experience. Let's do this one right here.
Okay. So I remember what Big Ed looks like, and Cheri shared this publicly. Oops. And I had to remember that people are watching me. So here it comes. Here comes Big Ed. Boom, boom.
All right, let's go share the screen. Just so we can, while we talk about him, here's Big Ed.
Okay, so there's Big Ed.
But he's not big. He's small. And anyway, so Big Ed.
He's small height-wise.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He found this woman that he likes. She manages a restaurant.
Oh, yeah. And
this is frequents.
And this is just in his regular life. This isn't a 90-day situation. It's just.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's really pretty, and she's young, a lot younger than him. And he develops a crush on her, and then he starts like asking her out, and then he tried to kiss her, and she's like, "You can't do that." And then
did she try to kiss him at work, or did they actually go out?
No, they went out, but it was like as friends. And then he tried to kiss her, and she told him no. Well, anyway, so then they went to one of his friend's wedding. He invited her to go on a trip, and they were going to get 2 rooms. But then they only had 1 room, and it only had 1 bed. And so anyway, they ended up sleeping together. And so we're all like, we were left last time, like, did anything happen?
Okay.
Well, okay.
So many questions. So was it because he only booked one room? Did he trap her into the situation, or did they?
No, I mean, they really called him and said that they had a mix up in.
Oh, they only, okay, gotcha. So at least it wasn't a manipulation. That
No,
I was starting to not think that highly of Big Ed here. So that's better. Okay, I just want to make
but
sure that was
I mean,
clear.
I wouldn't put something like that past Ed. I mean, he
Right.
probably would do.
Well, yeah,
something.
because I remember you sharing some things that however he was talking to people didn't sound that positive from before.
Right, and he's just kind of a.
What's interesting to me, this is where you kind of have to question both sides of a situation like that. Now, it's really hard when someone wants to be friends with you or is willing to be friends with you, but you know that you have a crush on them or that you want it to be more. And if you are in a situation, which I've been in, and I feel like not that I'm all that in a bag of chips, but I feel like I kind of land in this situation quite a bit where people are into me and they think that I'm into them as well. And when you're the one who doesn't have those same thoughts to return, you have to be very careful about what invitations you're accepting so that you're not leading that person on. And there is some onus on you maybe to not go on a trip with someone or to, and I don't even know the whole what happened yet, but that's
Right.
just, I guess, my initial take on. There's a little bit of onus on people from both sides. If you know that the person really isn't into you, then you need to protect your own feelings, right? And this isn't to say that you can sit here and be a victim because someone was willing to go and led you on and didn't take things further. But so you've got to, number one, protect yourself, but you also have to protect yourself from being put in that situation by, if you know someone's really into you and can't get over you and trying to kiss you, why are you going as a +1 to their event that's now you're going to almost look like their date to their family and friends, and it's an overnight event too. It's not even just like a dinner. I mean, that's just
Right.
these are just questions popping into my head. Like, why are we even getting into this situation?
Okay, so we left them at the hotel room last week, and then this week Ed shows up in the morning looking all disheveled, and then they said, did you have sex last night? And he's like, yeah, we made love all night long. And everybody's jaws just dropped. Like,
wow.
What? And he said he'd never had a woman just like lay him down and make love to him before in his life. And it was like, but like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
And is there a question of him being honest about that, or
because then they asked her, and she said, "Well, I had to kiss him. I had to teach him how to kiss, and probably have to teach him some other things too." But so it just leaves you feeling like, wow, like,
right.
I guess it really makes me just feel like, how messed up does this poor woman have to be?
Well, and that's the thing too, is like you mentioned that she was a really good looking gal, but no matter how people look physically, we don't know underneath what all their insecurities are or what they're dealing with, or, you know, maybe there are elements that he brings to the conversation or the personality that she's never experienced and says, wow, I've never had anybody treat me like this in this way, whether it's being really nice, being respectful, maybe it's being more dominating and what seems less respectful, but in a way that it comes across very confident, and someone hasn't experienced that. And so we don't know what attracts people to each other.
Right.
But
the thing with Ed is that not only is he physically unattractive, but he's the type of guy that just always says the wrong thing and, like, you know, probably like trips a lot and steps on your toes and just what's the word? The word I'm trying to think of, I don't even remember, but
and yeah, I guess the question is, where do they both see it going? And what I hope isn't the case is that she has no plans to pursue anything, and just, you know, like if she has no plans for anything to ever be beyond what it was, that's not bad as long as that's understood by everybody,
Well,
right? Like,
then the next thing he said to her was, I want you to meet my daughter. Like, oh my God, you
oh,
guys just got together. Like, she
yeah.
accepted to be his girlfriend, by the way. He said, will
Oh,
you be my girlfriend? She said, yes. But then she got a little upset, like he's pushing, like he just doesn't know when to stop. You know, it's
yeah.
like, just enjoy this for a while. Don't like be so needy. It's
Well,
just so unattractive.
and this is one thing, that a mistake that I have made constantly, and I'm trying to be better about it in life, and it goes beyond relationships too. It's just that I have needed to learn how to put forced breaks into things to slow down so I don't move too fast. Because when I even like, I was just talking to my friend Kirsten about this today. When I meet people, I am a very inquisitive person. I love to hear people's stories. I love to know what you've done with your life, where you're going with your life, what you want to do with your life, why you are the way you are, what kind of things that you're into, especially when they're things that I have no real interest in pursuing myself. I find it fascinating. But when you have a conversation like that with people, they feel sometimes for the first time in a long time like someone's really listening to them and very interested in them. And I am very interested and very genuinely want to know, but that doesn't mean I'm interested in dating them. And unfortunately, it builds in this situation where I'm unknowingly leading people on. And so I've learned that, and people that I'm interested in, even, I've learned that I like to jump in with 2 feet. I'm like, oh my God, if we had a date and we hit it off and it's Tuesday night, well, let's go out on Thursday or Friday. And then, maybe we'll go on a road trip the next Tuesday and whatever. And like, I'm ready to just like, go whole hog with life. And, but what happens is a lot of the things on whether or not you're going to really click develop over spending more time together, and not more time instantly, but actually like with breaks between, and then the length of time. And then you realize that, oh, they have, this weekend event that always precludes them from being available on Saturday. But if I made too many commitments and I didn't know them until a Saturday came along, now all of a sudden we hit this roadblock. So I've had to, force myself to say, okay, that's great. We had a great first date. Let's not have the second one for at least a week. And then, let's not do anything bigger than that for at least another week or whatever, so that it forces it to kind of spread out that timeline, which gives the relationship time to develop and unfold in a way that you can find out if you're just kind of reacting out of that emotional attention that you have in the moment. But I know I'm talkative today. I'm just rambling.
No, I got you. I'm listening.
But
Um, the next thing that I want to talk about, I said a lot of that stuff I don't even remember what I was like when I was single.
Well, I'm curious though. So are you moving on from Ed before I like do you think like is there more to that situation, or are we just now waiting?
We're just now waiting to see and find out. They showed a clip of her meeting his daughter, and it looks like it doesn't go well.
Okay.
But that's
So that was kind of the teaser.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really want to focus on any of the other relationships in that show today.
Yeah. So
Except
okay.
I did see something that I really don't see that much. As I saw a young woman, like early 20s, and she had had a fiance that was very domineering, like not in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And then she met a new guy, and then she noticed some of the same old behaviors in this guy. And instead of excusing it or turning a blind eye to it, she actually ended the relationship. And I was like, yes, I love to see young people, young women especially, being learning lessons from the past and not repeating patterns.
Yeah.
And even though she still attracted the same kind of guy, she saw it, stopped it, and
well, that's good.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a real validity and confidence building in recognizing when we can correct our patterns. I'm looking forward to hearing how it goes with meeting his daughter, because I just made a note. I really want to talk about that. Like, how do we decide when to bring our relationships into the rest of our lives with people, and when is the right time to do that? So
the daughter is like there's only a year's difference in age between the daughter and the new girlfriend.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an interesting
Yeah.
dynamic too. So that'll be a great topic for hopefully our next show if the episode is out by then. I
Yeah, I
believe.
think they come out on Sundays, so we
Okay.
should be good.
So, yeah.
Um,
Great.
I want to do a little update about Sister Wives, and then that will bring us into that other subject we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else you want to say right here.
Because Sister Wives, we left off with Mary and Cody kind of having their conversation about wanting to get back together or whatever, the first wife. And then the third wife was then starting to get antsy and wanting to move, and they're trying to keep her around, right?
Right. And there has been no new episode since then.
Okay.
So we're still there, but it got me to thinking, because they're sister wives. So let me give a little just a quick backstory. They are, I'm not going to say all Mormons do this. They are part of the Mormon religion that does believe in polygamy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the church as a whole doesn't, but I mean, they're an offshoot or whatever. I don't know the details, the particulars. But so there's 4 wives and 1 husband, and there's 18 kids between them. And they've worked really hard to be one unit. But then circumstances came, and they all lived in a cul-de-sac. And then they all were in one big house. Then they were in a cul-de-sac. Well, now they're in different houses around town, and COVID has come in. So, they're behind us time-wise.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're talking about, so one family, like her sons go out to work and go socialize and stuff. And other families are strictly staying in and isolating. And so then the dad is going from house to house.
Yeah, so he's like that bee pollinating the plants and like carrying the stuff around potentially,
right.
or stressing people up about if he could.
Yeah, and so then the one house where the older sons go out and go to work and stuff, the mom has said, Cody, you better not come over here, because I don't want you to get sick and then carry it back to the other families. Yeah. But now they're realizing that their whole family setup, that their whole world and the way that they wanted their family to be is crumbling in a way, because they want to be all one unit. Well, they can't be right now because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so it just got me to thinking about how things are different relationship wise. So for example, I saw you last night, and this made me think about it a lot too. But luckily, I don't think our friendship changed at all during COVID, because we're mostly like a face, like this is how we normally communicate anyway.
Yeah, the majority of our interactions we're already through Messenger, and then we'd be at events, and that would be great. But the more of our deep conversations were usually through chat. Right.
And, we would go right together, and that we've kind of like not been doing that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's been the same. But last night, there were so many people there at the comedy club that I hadn't seen in a while, or that I had never met, but I had met over Zoom, and I met him in person, that kind of stuff. And it just really, I felt really happy and like in my element last night. I mean, most of the time, except when I was yelling at people, but it just made me like kind of almost appreciate some things that I didn't appreciate before. Sure. Like maybe certain comedians that I don't really enjoy. It was nice to see them.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think you're right. I was on a call this morning, and the question of the call was about, how has the pandemic changed us and things like that. And, I think a big theme that a lot of people see is that you have a different sense of appreciation for people in your life, and also a better sense of who matters and who doesn't have time for you to matter about, who, when you only have so much attention, or you can only reach out, or you have to keep your bubble so big, all of a sudden the lines become very clear on who you can waste time on. And it doesn't mean that those people aren't worth wasting time. They should be in someone else's bubble, and hopefully they're creating their own bubbles, but we only have so much really close attention we can give. And I think it happened with COVID in 2 different ways. One was we found out who we needed to focus on primarily, those, who are the friends that you have
Mhm.
time to call and check on and all those things, and really babysit those relationships, but also where do we need to be more open-minded to who could need our help that isn't inside our bubble, because there's people like our neighbors and stuff that if they need groceries and can't go, and like I think a lot of people were able to help in a more general community way and get to know the community better, even those people that are outside your bubble. But it's interesting because one of the things I was thinking when it comes to change, and this is also important with relationships, I had this thought this morning that, when things change, our instinct is to say, okay, how do I maintain life given that this change is happening? Right? So in a way, we're trying to not let the change affect us as much as possible. And then we get stressed out and overwhelmed until we have to make other adjustments. But if we would look at it from another aspect and say, wow, or this change happened, what other things do I need to change to bring my life in line now that this event is there? And I think that's what COVID taught a lot of us, was that in order to be successful, in order to be happy, in order to have any connection, we had to make other changes to bring things in line with the new reality that we were facing. And like for us, we never chatted on video chat, rarely, before Zoom. And then this became the way that we would primarily feel like we were seeing each other.
Mhm.
And that's probably the most common way. But what other ways are there for people? Maybe it's that they need to rearrange things in their house so they have a place to work, or to get away from the rest of, maybe it's, what, I need to put a candle in a corner in my bedroom and have a peaceful spot to meditate because that's my only spot to get away from the rest of the family right now, whatever that is.
Mhm.
But
Well, one thing that I've been thinking about, like in my particular house, is that we have Andrew, my
Mhm.
son, he's 36, and that pains me to say that I have a son that's 36, but that's
Mhm.
okay. And Andrew is not independent at all. He's totally dependent on us.
Right.
And so because we had to keep him and me like really isolated, it's been over a year since my husband and I have had any time together as a couple without Andrew.
Yeah.
We haven't gone on a date. We just haven't.
Hmm.
And so it's affected our relationship, I would say. There's that, like in the beginning of the pandemic, you remember me making that sex calendar and we
Yeah.
were just going at it like rabbits. And
Hmm.
now it's kind of like, hey, it's you again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that really changed. I mean, our relationship is better in a lot of ways, but I really feel like I can't be the only one, the
Hmm.
whole aspect of our relationship, just as a man and a woman, is just kind of not happening right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad to hear you acknowledge that there are ways in which it's better, because I feel like a lot of times we see change and we dwell on, well, I can't have this or that, or this, it's hard for us to go on a date and we haven't been able to do that in a year. And so people get stuck in that space and say, because that's not happening, that's the only thing that they're measuring success or happiness on. So nothing else must be good. And yet, you guys being forced into 24 hours a day being together, working in the same household, not leaving to go to work, anything, that you found ways to communicate and get along and work together. So when you are able to go out and when you're able to add those pieces back in, then you've taken the relationship from here to here.
Yeah, now we still need to arrange to have some kind of date, but
Yeah.
early in the pandemic, I had a couple of COVID scares.
Hmm.
Where I had symptoms, and the first time was when we were all pretty new to this, and it was we were very scared, and
Yeah.
that was like, I remember Dave and I just looking at each other when I took my temperature and it was like 104. We looked at each other and it was just like we were so in sync that like, okay, this might be it, like
Mm.
it really brought us close together in a much deeper way. But now we're all kind of starting to get back to some semblance of reality, and I'm ready to go on a date,
Get your hair poofy.
with
Yeah.
someone other than you, but
Yes. Thank you, Dave, for letting me go out with Cheri, but it would be nice for you two to be able to go out.
But, now Andrew's had his second COVID shot, so
Mhm.
we'll be able to, leave him with somebody and
Yeah,
go do
and
that.
that was the other thing too, is he used to have activities during the day he'd go to. So even if it wasn't a dinner date, you guys could, go
Right.
out for lunch or just hang out together, whatever.
Yeah.
So
So life will be getting back to normal, and that's going to help a lot. But yeah, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of people have had to make adjustments in their thinking.
hmm so this is always a deep show. I love how eye-opening it is just to hear both about what we have going on, what's going on in the world, how to relate that, and I'm learning about new gay stars. So Lance Bass, I might need maybe every show you need to give me do you know who they are or not, or gay or not? Give me a
Yeah.
celebrity to look up and find
Gay
out,
celebrities.
because
And look what you're missing out on. And really, watch that hot guy on the circle. I mean, he's not gay, but he's worth looking at. I'll tell you that.
I'll have to at least watch an episode of The Circle.
I should tell you which one to watch for sure. Um,
It's like when you I don't remember what night it was. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and Cheri messages me and she says, "Watch Hollywood. You won't be sorry."
oh,
On Netflix. and then um, and then I ended up watching the show because it was a good show and it was entertaining and very gay friendly. But I think I basically watched it pretty much overnight. It was like one of those. It was one of those in the depths of COVID
how
where
many times? How many times did you watch it?
I've only watched it once and maybe a half. Because there were some things. Because actually, what happened was I watched it once, and then when I went to rewatch it, there were some things in it that were too close to home to what was going on in the moment in the world, and it was not an escape from reality. So, which is what I was looking for. So I didn't want to watch it again. It took the entertainment side out of it.
I gotcha on that. What do you have coming up, Andy?
So I have got I've got my podcast going on weekly, Own Your Awkward, and I am really I'm challenging myself to reach out to a famous guest per month, like go big once a month and do a big ask, and for someone to be on and ask them to own their awkward. Maybe Lance Bass is someone I should ask. Maybe Andy Cohen. I'm looking at my notes here on who these gay people are. You said I should ask. They don't have to be gay. My show's not about being gay. It's about owning your awkward. But I've got that. I've got my book out there, Own Your Awkward Life Changes, that I'm getting ready to promote again now that things are starting to open back up and want to get out to some markets. But follow me on Facebook at Awkward Career or awkwardcareer.com, and let's catch up.
All right. And you can find me. Are you done?
I was going to say, how about you? No, I was just going to return the question.
Sunday, May 2nd, I will be at, not sure. It's like a Burien paint and sip thing, but I forget, the Heart Gallery or something.
Ooh, fun.
Sorry, I should have checked this out. But 5 o'clock with Joe Gomez and friends. And Wednesday night, Cinco de Mayo, I will be at Cole Street Brewery in Enumclaw, one of my favorite rooms to work, doing that show. And
that is a great spot. I was going to say, I was about to say that's one of my favorite rooms too.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that. You can find the address to those things on my sherihardman.com. Friday night also, the 7th. Let me just catch that. I will be opening the psychedelic show where comedians will be tripping, and I will not. So. All right. So
sounds fun.
Yeah, fun. It's going to be a fun week. All right. Well, thanks, Andy. Thanks, everybody that's watching.
Thank you, Cheri. This has been a fun episode of Scrutiny.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.